Dunlingr is probably the worst Celestial Hypogean. I'll say that his... Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this AFK journey video. So in today's AFK journey video, we're going to talk about the final verdict of Dunlingr and then analyzing some secret tips and tricks that you guys can use with this unit based on my own observation. Okay, so before we start talking about the unit, I'm going to showcase some interesting ways and mechanics I've observed other players use this unit with, and it's from the top 2 players which I managed to attack them and then I failed attacking. So right here we have Dunlingr together with Parisa as well as Lily May and Brian. So very high tier team. And if we go into the build itself, the idea is pretty much the same as the triple assassin comp that I mentioned for the best Dunlingr PvP team, because he went for Cure Lock and then he gave the buff to Parisa, and together with the Wildest Factional Talent, together with the 3 really bursty unit, your enemies who are not able to heal must be able to outburst you, right, in order to win the fight. So you're forcing your enemy to play the burst game with you, and obviously this team has counters, but the thing is, first of all, he has a lot of stats, right? Second of all, this team also has Fresto. So one of the Fresto gives energy regen and the other one gives damage reduction. So this also plays a role in sort of like guessing, in terms of you don't know whether or not Parisa is the one with the energy regen, although I actually think the one with energy regen is Parisa, because Parisa being able to spam her ultimate is actually pretty scary. And because for this map itself, for Infinite Front Scorching Furnace, the healing effect is reduced. So even if there's a downtime on Dunlingr's Bell of Order, which allows the enemies to heal, for example, which allows me to heal, it's actually really hard to get the healing efficiency up, because healing is just not as efficient on this map. So this is a very bursty comp, and the idea resembles that lock you down in terms of healing and then try to burst you before you can do anything, or before you can heal yourself back up. So you're forced to actually fight the enemy on like a damage basis, right, to see who can kill each other faster. So that's one way you can use Dunlingr. Not going to challenge him because I'm not going to win. I tried it a few times. And then we have the second guy right here. This guy has a P2 Dunlingr, Paragon 2 right here. So Paragon 2 Dunlingr with EX20. So this is a very interesting comp. In a sense, it's pretty much the same idea as D&D, Dino and Dunlingr. So I think if you guys have saw my best PvP team for Dino and Dunlingr, the way you are building that team is because you are focusing on one single hypo carry, right? So that Clemency Charm buff on that one carry makes your carry really impactful, and because everyone else in the team is locked out of their ultimate, only the carry with a very impactful ultimate will be able to do stuff. So that's what it means by buffing a single carry, a hyper carry strat. So the last unit right here is actually Talin. I'll showcase the replay later. So if we go into challenge right now, right, let's take a look at this. So this is one interesting mechanic I realized, by the way. So now if you take a look at this, Dunlingr has the Clemency Chime buff on Skalita, because based on whatever known information is on the map, Skalita is the furthest unit away from Dunlingr right now. Okay, so just take note of this, because later on when I show a replay, you guys will see something different. Okay, so if we go into battle records, as you guys can see, I tried to attack him, failed. So right here you can see the Talin. Okay, so if we go into battle, go at one time, you can see that the Clemency Chime buff actually went to Talin's side. So I managed to cancel the ultimate with Lily May, but if I didn't have any cancellation, the Talin will be able to immediately cast the ultimate and then devastate my team from here. So even though I think Hewin here is a little bit wasted, but I think there isn't really like any other healers which are as good as Hewin in terms of providing the sustain for Talin. So I guess that's the reason why he's using Hewin, because he's hyper carrying with Talin, right? So Talin needs some sort of heal, and he's using Talin in his base. So I think for Barrel's case is more for disruption, generally a very good disruptive unit, but these are the 2 ways to use Dunlingr, at least on the PvP side. Okay, so obviously the hyper carry, which is a variant from the D&D, in a sense the idea is the same, right? It's just that the hyper carry in the D&D team is Dino, and the hyper carry in this team is Talin. So Talin is another hyper carry that goes really well with Dunlingr, and with the seasonal charm ability, Talin's carrying potential is actually pretty scary actually. So that's what I realized based on my Supreme Arena runs. If not, the other way to play it is this bursty comp. So now this brings me to my analysis for this character, and that is how good is Dunlingr? Like, is he a character which warrants people's resources, right? Is it a whale's toy, or is it like a unit which is released at the wrong timing? So my analysis for Dunlingr right now is that this character is a character with a ton of potential, because he locks down two of the most important mechanics in the game. And yes, it is a double-edged sword, but if you're able to play around the double-edged sword, the ability to just lock down two types of, I would say, like really important mechanic is actually going to be game-changing with a deepening of hero pool. So that's something that people often don't realize, because I've seen a lot of comments, I've seen a lot of people posting on other content creators' video mentioning that Dunlingr is probably the worst Celestial Hypogean. I'll say that he's not the best, right? He is the most niche, because he is very arena centric and he's focused on, I'll say, like doing one of the two abilities lock based on what unit. But if you think about it, he is one of the best answers to a few of the best teams in the game. For example, let's go into normal arena, for example. So if you go into normal arena, I'm not sure whether or not the brackets around the different district is the same, but I think there are a lot of people seeing Lily May, right? There's a lot of people seeing Hewin and Damien together. There's also a lot of people seeing Scarlita, Torrent, even the Iron teams in general. So now, this brings me to Dunlingr. So why is Dunlingr really good in doing what he does? If you have a Dunlingr, right, if you see a bunch of healers from this team, for example, Cure Lock the heal and then burst the enemy down, right? And then if you have enemy that relies heavily on Iron to start the combo, for example, it's an Iron Armor's Burst, ultimate lock the ultimate, burst the enemy down. So Dunlingr is a very specific niche type of character that's extremely good at what he does, okay? But obviously I have to recognize the fact that this character is not for everyone. So yes, it is more so for people who are PvP centric, who wants an easy solution to lock the enemy out, to not think so much, right? When you see a lot of healers, Cure Lock. When you see a lot of ultimate, you use ultimate lock. So that's, I'll say, like my analysis for Dunlingr. So Dunlingr is not a shitty character. He is a very niche character, and obviously he would be better in Supreme Arena over normal arena, because he's not that good on the defense. Because if your enemy, like I mentioned earlier, right, focuses on locking you down on the ultimate side, for example, right, you can just play a team that doesn't rely on ultimate to win the battle. And then if the enemy locks you out of healing, then you just play a team that doesn't rely on healing to try to bring your enemy down. So there will always be a solution. But right now, there's also another thing for Dunlingr which makes me feel like this character has an unlimited amount of potential, and that is, there isn't really, like, I'll say, like a good team that is centered around Dunlingr. It feels like Dunlingr is a combo piece to solve a problem. So he is more whale centric, because whale has the resources to get almost every unit maxed out. So they will be able to actually maximize Dunlingr's power, because they have the ability and the resources to get a lot of units up, and then they have the choice to choose whether or not they want to use Dunlingr or use other tanks when they have other choices. So that is what I feel about Dunlingr. But this character definitely has, I'll say, like some really good future potential, provided there are more units that can go well with him. Another thing that I think people often overlook is that, yes, maybe you can't recover HP for others, but you can actually shield your ally, right? So what if in the future there's a unit that's extremely good at shielding, right? Combine that with Coco, and then you have infinite shielding, and then you're not dying even though you can't recover HP, but you're effectively able to shut down your enemy's team if they are not running like any form of shielder on their own, right? So that is a few things I can think of. And obviously for this unit, I think his tankability is not the best, but after the release of the elite charm set ability, I somehow think that this character suddenly became super duper tanky, even at just Supreme Plus. So I beat some people up as I was climbing my ladder for today, and I realized that, hey, this character actually has some decent tankability, provided you have some sustain that can sort of keep him alive. So one thing which I think people need to consider when they want to use Dunlingr is they must be able to build a team specifically good at playing around the lock on your team, because it's a double-edged sword. So you need to be able to handle that edge to yourself before maximizing Dunlingr's ability. So that's pretty much it. Just a very simple analysis for Dunlingr. This character is definitely more PvP centric than anything else, and probably more whale centric and not so applicable for everyone. But if you're somebody who loves PvP and you want to have this easy solution to some of the most meta teams or the most meta units like Hewin, Damien, Iron, your Arden, Elsa combo, whatever, right, this character is an insanely good option to go for. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe to see more. See you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.